Good morning, folks. The real Captain Kirk here, live from Weather Trends 360 studio here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I thought we would do another update, obviously on Hurricane Florence. It's about 10 o'clock on the East Coast Wednesday morning. Again, looking at satellite image, again, lots of activity out there. We've got Florence, we've got Isaac going through the Leeward Islands, Helene's going a fish storm out to sea, Olivia hitting Hawaii, and several more waves coming off Africa. So the peak of the hurricane season certainly living up the billing here this year. It's like last year at this time. So a lot of activity. Looking at the satellite image of Florence this morning, a very formidable Cat 4, winds 132 miles per hour, sustained winds, gusting to 161 miles per hour. This is a huge hurricane in terms of size. I mean, it's bigger than the state of Florida, so it's not a small, compact hurricane. It's very large. That means the tropical storm force winds extend well out beyond the eye. This will impact a lot of areas. It hits South Carolina, North Carolina over the next couple days. The one ray of good news here is that, again, we don't have this deep convection on the southwest side of the hurricane. So in terms of intensity, we'd like to see that if you wanted to see a really increasing hurricane. At this point, she's likely to maintain her strength at Category 4 level. Hurricane Center shows maybe picking up another 10 miles per hour, so maybe getting back up to 140, 145. We'd have to be up to 156 to get to Cat 5 level in terms of sustained winds. We're not probably going to get there at this stage. So a very strong hurricane, to say the least, as she approaches the coast. The model guidance did exactly what we talked about last night, this southward shift, again, getting closer toward the Wilmington, and that's certainly what we see. It does this and then goes even into northern South Carolina. That keeps Myrtle Beach, Wilmington in the right front quadrant, and unfortunately this is a very slow jog southwest. So highly unusual to do that, and that's a devastating impact because of the population centers it's hit. Yesterday, as you recall, it was the Hurricane Center had it way up into here, missing, keeping Wilmington on the south side of the hurricane with a very minimal storm surge and probably not a huge impact. This is a devastating impact for the Wilmington, Myrtle Beaches of the world, highly populated areas. In terms of intensity, the models are all very consistent in that Cat 3, Cat 4 range as it nears the coast tomorrow. Hurricane Center, again, does show that official track where it does show this jog here. And again, it just keeps more of the coastline in that right front quadrant for a prolonged period of time. So the slow movement is very concerning for the folks in that, again, Wilmington, Myrtle Beach area. Timing, if you look at tropical storm force wind gusts this time tomorrow, for certainly we're looking at the outer bands impacting the coast. So you need to get out now, immediately. Again, if you're being told to evacuate, please evacuate. And we'll talk about why, because certainly, if you remember any of these hurricanes, she's a top 10. There's no doubt at landfall, for North Carolina at least, this could be a top 10 event. So in terms of wind speed, obviously Hazel back in '54 was the strongest with 132 mile an hour sustained winds. Florence is only projected to have 98 mile per hour sustained winds. However, that's misleading because that's at landfall about 15, 20, even a day prior to that. She's easily up into these 115 mile per hour winds. So can we have 115, 110 mile gust in Wilmington? Certainly, or closer to the beaches. So that would put it in the top few strongest wind gusts in North Carolina. So again, definitely a top 10 for sure. So if you remember any of these, Gloria and Floyd and Donna, they had huge impacts on the state. Florence will be on that caliber. Rainfall, she may actually have a chance at breaking the record. Floyd has set that record in 1999 with 24.06 inches of rain from a single event. Florence, model's guidance is saying 20 to 24. So she's certainly in the top 10. Very likely she's in the top 5 and has a good chance to maybe break the record for somebody. We'll see here. But again, flooding is what killed. Everyone remembers Matthew in 2016, and that's further down the list with only about 19 inches. So it's on that kind of scale, and Matthew was devastating in terms of flooding, so just a couple years ago. This big surge, again, remember yesterday the model guidance was more in here in terms of the track, keeping Wilmington in the south side of the hurricane with no impact to a tidal surge. And now today, obviously, the models have done what we thought they would do and corrected, and now you've got this more keeping Wilmington and Myrtle Beach on the right front quadrant of the hurricane. So the tidal surge is a good 8 to 12 plus feet in this concave bay. Always say that's extremely dangerous bay configuration. The water comes in here, it has no place to go. It can't escape. Versus a convex situation where the water can actually go around both locations. So it can kind of escape in certain configurations, whereas this configuration it can't. So you're just simply talking about a wall of water 8 to 12 feet rising up. It's not waves, just the water is lifting up. Easily will get over these barrier islands. Now on top of that are waves. The waves will easily be 10 to 20 feet near the coast, 30 feet off the coast. I don't think you're going to see 30-foot waves, obviously, at the beach, but 10 to 20 on top of a 10-foot tidal surge is 20 to 30 feet of water, and that's why second and third story buildings are destroyed because of a wall of water across. So a lot of these inlets are going to be changed forever, as they've done before with Hatteras. There's Hatteras Island, there's an inlet now, Irene, I think it's, I believe Irene Inlet, that actually, where there was land, is now water. It's so certainly Florence could do the same thing here. She was over very kind of below average water temperatures as she became a Cat 4, and now she's entering 3, 4, 5 degree above average water temperatures as she approaches the North Carolina coast. These waters she's currently sitting over 86 degree bathtub water, very, very hot, huge latent energy potential for the hurricane. So she's not going to weaken because of water temperatures. Normally we wouldn't see quite this warm. This is above average. So normally she'd weaken because of cooler waters. This is hotter water. She's not weakening because of that. She'll weaken because of a little bit of southwest shear. And as hurricanes approach the coast, they tend to feel the land, if you will. It's friction, and it kind of disrupts the circulation. So as she gets closer, naturally, as a hurricane gets close to coast, it does tend to weaken a bit. Now, she's not going to weaken a ton, but certainly those factors will cause her to, she's not going to become a Cat 5. It looks like that chance is greatly diminished at this stage. Now, the good news, bad news on the rainfall. Year-to-date rainfall in the state of North Carolina is actually the wettest in 15 years, going back to 2003. So we've had a lot of rain. Now, in the recent period, though, if we just look at the last 30 days, it's actually been very dry. You can see there's extremely dry conditions here in the Carolina, South Carolina, well below average rainfall in the last 30 days. Now, the ground is still, water table is still high, but again, driest in 11 going back to 07. So the land can absorb some moisture and some rainfall, but certainly not 15, 20 inches of rain. So, this is a slight positive here. This is the official forecast for rainfall. Now, I think this will be a little bit underdone. Some of these heavier 15, 20-inch totals could actually squeak into South Carolina and even get into the orographic effect of the mountains. But certainly around landfall is where we're looking at potentially, over 20 inches, which again gets us close to that, top few record-breaking events. Now, again, this week, if we add up all the rainfall across the state, we're looking at something off the charts. Floyd, back in '99, again, that set the record for a single event. This one has a great chance to set the record. There's, definitely going to get up there. So, literally off the chart, if you will, in terms of rainfall. Now, people don't realize this, but there's a huge agricultural impact in the state of North Carolina. They're #1 in tobacco. Everyone kind of knows that. Some of these things I had no clue. #2 in cut Christmas trees. The big impacts are going to be #1 in poultry and eggs, 830 million chickens. So, I mean, the loss of potential livestock life is pretty huge, and that just creates a lot of issues. If we kill a lot of chickens, obviously impacted the ag industry and your grocery bill, but also impacted just the disease factor of killing off these animals, and that's why they're frantically trying to get these livestock out of harm's way, which may be tough to do. Pigs are about 10 million. I joke that there's just about as many pigs in North Carolina as there are people. They have about 10.3 million humans and about 10 million, pigs, and about 1.2 million cows. So there's a ton of poop, if you will, coming from all this livestock. And when previous flooding events, that was an issue where the runoff that ran into all the rivers and lakes and reservoirs was a lot of contaminant of fecal matter that is very detrimental to, obviously, human health. So a lot of disease issues when you have this kind of a flooding potential. So, again, something to be concerned about. So a lot of farmers down there. So God bless you folks down there. We're worried about you. WeatherTrends360.com, we have a lot of cool tools. Check them out. A lot of interactive mapping tools to monitor storms. So any luck, we get a rainbow here at the end. God bless you folks. Please stay safe, and we'll talk to you here tomorrow.